Hey everyone, I'm Paul, a solo game dev working on a new project that I want to get some feedback on. It's early in development, but I do have a playable prototype of the game on itch.io, which you can find a link for in the description. Before this project, I released a game called Red Sea on Steam that I spent over a year on, but only a few people played it, unfortunately. And part of that was certainly because I didn't have a demo or anything playable early. It was a hard lesson to learn, but I did learn it. So the new game is already playable, and if there's support for it, I'd love to keep working on it. Otherwise, I have other ideas I can try. My new project, which I'm calling Neural Wetwork, is a sci-fi action roguelite where you customize every aspect of your weapon's stats and behaviors, and fight a robot army with it. Currently, I'm treating it like a survival roguelite because it's easier to prototype that way, but I'm actually open to going a different direction based on the feedback I get, and assuming the scope is still reasonable for one person. The most important thing to me is just having dynamic and rewarding gameplay, and my ideas for that can work in multiple genres. The core of my game is the mod system, which are the different ways you can upgrade your weapons and abilities. That's where most of my time has gone so far, and mostly what I want to talk about in this video. Basically, what I'm trying to do is break down every individual component of weapon mechanics or fun gameplay mechanics and have each of those pieces be a mod that can be combined with any other mod. So the player will have this physics and mechanics sandbox to get really creative with their builds. Even now, with only 25-ish mods in the prototype, you can do some pretty cool things, but I plan on adding many more. With the action or survival roguelites I've played, a lot of the upgrades tend to be very numbers driven. It's kind of just good stat number go up, or there's so much math complexity to it that you can't interact with it easily. And while gradual stat progression can be fun, I think enough games do that already that I want to try something else. In my game currently, stats each have one mod, and when you install it, you can raise or lower it any time, and there's a damage trade-off in both directions to balance it out. So your power won't primarily be coming from stats. Behavior mods determine what your weapon and abilities do, and amp mods award damage or other benefits for doing a particular thing. My idea with amp mods is that each one is its own gameplay mechanic that you can play around. And for me, this is more rewarding and interactive. For instance, one mod increases the damage of your next projectile hit when you pick up energy. To clarify, I'm not saying these kinds of upgrades don't exist in games, they do, but what is fun for me in this particular game is that you have enough flexibility in the other parts of your build that you can facilitate your gameplay around the amp mods. Maybe you set up your stats and behaviors to fly around the map and buff every individual attack as you pick up the previous enemy's energy, or maybe you leave a bunch on the ground and stack them up for one big hit, which is fun because the longer you don't pick up energy, the less you can use abilities or upgrade things, so there's some risk there. Adding to that one, you could swap to a preset with a completely different set of mods where stats are all the way down to get more damage, since stats don't really matter when you only need one projectile to hit. And the last mod type is aesthetic, which I only have one of in the prototype to change the projectile color, but I also want the player to customize things like the projectile shape, really any of the ability shapes, trail effects, basically anything to the extent that you can make it look like any type of weapon or ability you want. I'm going for a full power customizer. There's a lot more I could talk about when it comes to what I envision for the game, such as characters, enemy mechanics, difficulty, meta progression, etc., but I'll save that for other videos. Keep in mind the game is far from being complete or good at the moment, it's just a small prototype, so I can figure out if people see potential in this idea. Please let me know in the comments what you honestly think, especially if you played it, I do want to mention that I'm not looking for bug feedback and things like that at the moment. If I continue working on it, I'll be redoing most of my code anyway, so I'm mostly looking for more high-level feedback. But anyway, thanks for watching.